We have all faced difficult circumstances during this pandemic, and certainly Texas businesses have had to make a lot of changes. What role do you feel like Texas policymakers should play in helping the economy get back on track?
This is a good question. So what I think the state of Texas should do is take a hard look at some of the restrictions on bars and restaurants that exist as a holdover from the days of prohibition and blue laws, and focus only on public safety. So I am a scientist by training. I am also a bar owner. I love working in a bar as much as I respect science. I want to follow appropriate health protocols. I don't want anybody to get sick. I don't want my staff to get sick. But at the same time, I recognize that there is no reasonable excuse for not allowing bars to continue to sell drinks to go, for example. Texas, obviously, to keep it safe, you can make sure they're sealed appropriately so people don't drink and drive. But the laws against drinking and driving already exist. So I think that Texas did a great thing by allowing us to sell prepackaged alcoholic beverages to go. And I think what they can do to help is to continue to allow that flexibility to exist. And basically just be driven by data, by public safety concerns and data.
We didn't see this pandemic coming, and it really came in and it hit Texas particularly hard, and we're all having to deal with it. And now is a really great time for policymakers to take a hard look at our policies and think, what are some of the things that we can do to make Texas a safer place, including ways that we can make sure that when we get our COVID-19 vaccines in Texas, how we can distribute them throughout the state that'll really help us get out of this pandemic and then back to our more normal lives where we're able to go out and be out in our community and support our local businesses.
Agreed. And if I may just add one more thing, I completely agree. And so I think what's critical is for Texas to take a holistic approach, especially, so I'm here representing sort of the hospitality industry. And so I have a unique perspective in that sense. What's critical is that the state of Texas allows us the flexibility to continue to do business by, for example, allowing us to keep selling things to go. For those people that are concerned about congregating, they should be allowed to drink at home. And to be honest, we want them to stay home because the fewer people that we have in a confined space, the less opportunities for viral transmission to occur. Furthermore, from a public health perspective, my staff is lucky in the sense that we provide them health insurance, and I'm very pro-vaccine, and we are going to pay to have them vaccinated as soon as possible. But a lot of people who work in this industry are not that lucky, and so I think that it would be incumbent on the state to provide free vaccines to subsidize vaccines for hospitality workers. The average bartender or server in a restaurant sees a parade of people coming and going, and even if people are diligent with masks coming into a restaurant or coming to a bar, at some point they have to take them off. And the bartenders themselves, the servers, can become a source of transmission. And so it makes sense. They're frontline workers. And so it makes sense for the state of Texas to invest in them because that's one opportunity to stop transmission as it rapidly occurs.
And instead of, trying to address economic impact in ways that are not effective, let's use one of the safest and most effective and cost-effective tools that we have, which is a vaccine, because it's a vaccine against the coronavirus that is going to put Texas back to work. As long as we can make sure that we have enough Texans vaccinated, a vast majority of Texans vaccinated, so we can achieve that community immunity so that the coronavirus is no longer spreading within Texas, and that our workers, our families, our school children can really get back to work and back in school. And the only way we're going to do that is if we achieve extremely high herd immunity with our vaccination rates. And so anything that our Texas policymakers can do to help increase those rates and increase access and equitable access to a vaccine for all Texans, that's really going to be the number one thing to get our economy back on track and get Texans back to work. And so thank you so much. And I invite our listeners today to subscribe to our channel or to follow us on social media or our website at immunizeusa.org.